Good afternoon, everybody. This is possibly a kit build that a lot of people haven't heard of before. It's from a firm called London Road Models. And I would think that currently, being 2026, these guys are producing some of the best detailed models on the market. Kit build set wise, certainly, absolutely. Really are very high quality kits. So this one is of a North Eastern Railway G1. Otherwise, when it hit the NER, it was known as the D23. Originally built as a 240, rebuilt in the early 1900s as 440s. A suburban passenger locomotive, not an express mainline locomotive, but for smaller suburban work, the North Eastern Railway produced this particular animal as a 240 in the late 1800s. Now, unlike a lot of my previous videos where I've shown you the kit and various stages of the build, this one is actually finished. You see it, just carefully unwrapping it. And there we have the North Eastern Railway G1 in its 240 wheel configuration and featuring the T.W.Worsdell Livery, which was current at the time of build for these particular locomotives. We'll get on the turntable and give you a look-see. There we go. Nice 360-degree view of the locomotive. It's a brass kit. The boiler was pre-formed by London Road Models, but everything else after that was flat brass. Curve on the tender, curve on the front of the splashes, all had to be made from the flat brass etches. But I hope you can appreciate from the video the detail on this thing. It's really very good. It's excellent. Paintwork, well, that's my own. So possibly not quite as good as you'll get from Ready to Run, let's be honest. But I'm actually very chuffed with the way it's turned out. The lining on the underframes and valances is vermilion lining on claret or crimson lake. These locomotives, when they were built, the T.W.Worsdell Livery featured broad claret or crimson lake borders around the green and crimson lake or claret underframes and valances and steps. The lining on the underframe and valances and steps is vermilion, and then between the claret borders and the North Eastern Railway green you have vermilion black white lining, and obviously, as you can see, the boiler bands themselves are white black white lining. So the vermilion lining is all done by hand on the underframes and steps. The boiler bands are Fox transfers, black, white, black. The lining on the tender is technically, again, Fox transfers of black, white, black, but I did vermilion lining over one of the white lines on the outer white line. I overdid it with vermilion paint to get vermilion black white. And where we've got the curve over the splashes, the curves are all hand done white black white. Sorry, vermilion black white. The straight parts of the lining around the cab, for instance, and along the splashes on the horizontal lines. There again, the fox transfers with vermilion overlaying the white. What else can we say about it? What you see is what you get. It is a lovely, lovely thing. The green is Phoenix Precision Northeastern Railway green, which I think is a pretty good rendition. Always a lot of debate over Northeastern Railway green. Your ready-to-run running manufacturers such as Rapido and Bachmann have tended to err on the yellow side of green. But in fact, when you read about Northeastern Railway, their main centres of locomotive building, being Gateshead and Darlington, had different variations of green. York built a few locomotives, but they had different variations of green. York tended towards the more yellow version, or the yellow side of green. Gateshead supposedly used Saxony green. Darlington used more blue-green. So, I think you can do whatever green colour you like. And to be fair, I think Phoenix Precision with this particular green have done, I think it's admirable. I think it's probably there or thereabouts. Certainly if you look at models of Northeastern Railway locomotives from late 1800s, early 1900s, you see them in places like the York Railway Museum or the Hopetown Museum in Darlington, and the models there all exhibit a much bluer green than Bachmann yellow green or Rapido yellow green that they put on their ready-to-run locomotives. So I think Phoenix Precision, to be fair to them, it's as good as anything else out there, if not better. Fairly obviously I've added a couple of crew figures. Other than that, pretty much followed the instructions as laid out by London Road Models in the building of this. And here we go down on the track. And in proper Sam's Train style, will she crawl? Of course she will. Oops, that's me turned it off. Come on, back up to speed, step 2. Nice little bit of wheel spin as well, but it's not bad. It can do a slow crawl. Now, it isn't the best puller in the world, to be fair, but there's ways and means I can improve that by adding more weight. The coaches are 4 kit-built coaches, so there's a little bit of drag on them compared to ready-to-run. But nobody does ready-to-run Northeastern Railway 4-wheel coaches, so I have to kit bash them. Here she comes. Yes, if she was pulling 4 coaches from the Hornby stable, like these LBSC ones that are ready to run, she would handle them no problem. But the kit-built ones are always a bit draggy. Not to worry. North Eastern Railway T.W.Worsdell Livery compared to SECR livery. Both very handsome engines. Does the SECR livery, is it better than T.W.Worsdell? Probably yes, but only in so much as we haven't seen a ready to run T.W.Worsdell livery. Well, no, I tell a lie. Bachmann, their new E-Class, North Eastern Railway E-Class, is in the T.W.Worsdell livery. Is it as good as SECR? If you're from the south, probably not. If you're from the north, probably yes. I think they're both very, very, very good looking locomotives. I would say that if in some future date we get a Fletchered livery North Eastern Railway locomotive, that is a shade better than the SECR. And I'm comparing it to the SECR because at the moment I'm in my Southern locomotive phase and running my collection of Southern locomotive trains. And obviously this is probably recognisable as the Bachmann C-Class. And the SECR is probably the one that most regularly tops the polls in terms of being the most beautiful livery. And in the background we've got a good old Oxford Adams radio with some Hornby LBSCR coaches. So yeah, two of the most handsome engines you could probably ever find. Okay, marvellous stuff. Let's get underway with that one.